I want to welcome everybody from the board and the staff of the Healthy Start Coalition of Sarasota County to yet another one of our amazing presentations of our parenting series. Today is May 11th, and with us we have Dr. Melania Kesoglou. Dr. Melania, as we will call her henceforth, is the Director of Education at Children First, Inc., a nonprofit organization which I'm sure many of you are familiar with for the wonderful work that they do with children in our community. She is the Director of Education at Children First, Head Start, and Early Head Start programs. As Director of Education, Dr. Melania oversees the Head Start and Early Start education programs at 15 locations throughout Sarasota County and is responsible for the overall management of the programs which provide high quality early childhood education to approximately 900 children annually from ages birth to 5. With more than 34 years of experience in the early childhood education field as a trainer, curriculum and instruction developer, manager and director of federal education programs, her area focus is on educational practices that emphasize interpersonal relationships, cultural diversity, child-centered curriculum, parent involvement and engagement, parent training, and the inclusion of children with special needs in all educational programs. I think we are beyond fortunate to have somebody with such a wealth of information presenting to us today on the journey that is potty training. So thank you for joining us, and let's sit back and enjoy Dr. Melania's presentation.
Thank you so much, Patricia, for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Dr. Melania Kesoglou, and I'm the Director of Education with Children First Head Start and Early Head Start program here in Sarasota, as Patricia mentioned earlier. It is a true pleasure to present the potty training for parents today. While everyone says that our kiddos will now go to college in diapers, that's not always the most helpful advice when you are in the thick of potty training. The best resource for potty training, tips and tricks, and clever ideas will always be the parents who have already been through the process. I have devoted over 34 years in the education field, but I'm also a mother of 2 adult girls that are potty trained and 3 grandchildren who I help potty train as well, 2 boys and 1 girl. First thing you want to do is put the potty in the bathroom. Introducing the potty early on by having it in the bathroom way before potty training even begins will help the child be familiar with it, and it will not be as overwhelming for them when potty training time arrives. Another thing also to consider is to make sure that your child is really ready. And when I'm saying really ready, is really, really ready. This is a big one. If your child is not really ready for potty training, you could be looking at months of frustration for you and your child. Some kiddos are ready at 18 months and others will not be ready until they are 4 or 5 years old. Many of the parents though wonder when to start potty training. There are 6 signs of readiness. So the first sign, your child does not like wet or dirty diaper. At some point, a wet or dirty diaper becomes unpleasant to the child. If the child is constantly pulling at the dirty diaper or taking it off altogether, these can be signs that they are ready for the underwear. The second thing to notice is that your child hides when filling their diaper. Is your toddler giving himself a little privacy while he or she does her business? Is your preschooler hiding behind the living room or chair when it's time for number 2, this is a great sign that they might be ready for the potty, but don't expect them to close the bathroom door anytime soon. So the third one is your child takes interest in seeing others use the toilet. Kiddos learn by example. If they can watch mommy and daddy, big brother or big sister use the potty, they often feel motivated to do the same. And the fourth sign, your child tells you that he or she is doing number 1 or number 2. If your child can tell you when they are wetting or soiling their diaper, it is a super good sign that they are ready to start potty training. The fifth sign, diapers are staying dry longer. As your child gets closer to being ready for potty training, they will start going longer with dry diapers. This is a sign that they are able to hold, to basically hold it until they feel like going to the potty, which is an important part of the process. So the sixth sign is your child is able to take off and pull on clothing. Now, while this is not required, it is really helpful if your child is able to pull down and pull up clothing on their own. If they have not mastered this skill, you keep on practicing. So potty training does not have to be stressful. If your child is showing 2 or more of these signs that I just mentioned, you might want to start potty training. Get on a schedule right away. This is one of the things that I recommend. Creating a potty training schedule and sticking to it from the beginning can make a huge difference in your potty training process. A solid potty training schedule can set you and your child up for success, especially when you are first getting started. So the question is how to create a potty training schedule. When you first start potty training, the majority of work will be done by you, the parent. Unfortunately, it's not usually as simple as taking off the diaper and having your child tell you every time they need to go. In fact, for the first several days and maybe weeks, it might feel like you are the one that is potty trained. Train to put your child on the toilet every 20 minutes. If you can stick to a solid potty training schedule, it will pay off in the end. So clear your schedule. Part of the potty training schedule is making sure that you have time in the first few days of potty training to stick around the house and make using the potty a priority. It's best if you can spend at least 2 or 3 days at home and not be distracted by errands or multiple caregivers or having to visit strange bathrooms. And normally some of the parents, they choose to use a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to start this process. And some of the parents working, so they choose to do that. This will also give you the time you need to really evaluate if your child is ready for potty training, as well as practice your carpet cleaning skills. Then set a timer. That's very important there. Once you take off the diaper, set a timer and plan to take your child to the bathroom every 20 to 30 minutes. One of the main causes of potty training accidents is because the child is having too much fun or is too involved in play to listen to their body and make it to the bathroom on time. At first, it is your job to interrupt their play, to give them time to go potty. They probably will not need to go every 20 minutes, but at least you are giving them the time and space to sit on the potty for the few minutes to try. This next part that I will share with you is very important. If your child is not able to stay dry during 10-minute intervals, the chances are that they just are not ready for potty training. Make sure your child is showing at least 2 to 3 of the 6 signs of readiness that I just mentioned earlier. If not, try again in a month or so. Incorporate potty training charts and rewards. Potty training charts and rewards are very important parts of the potty training process. It can help your child get really excited about your new potty training schedule. Implementing a potty training chart is an absolute must. Potty training charts are a great way to track progress and development while instilling a lifelong habits actually and behaviors. There are a lot of ways to make charts. You can type it or you can handwrite it. I recommend the 4-step chart. It is a very simple very simple chart, and your child will be able to use it on his own or her own, actually. I'm just gonna give you the steps of that chart that you can create. Take a white piece of paper with no lines, just plain white paper or any color paper, 8 by 11. Turn the paper in a portrait position. So write your child's name on the very top. Make 4 horizontal lines. On the first line on the left side, write I went. On the second line, write I wiped. On the third line, write I flushed. On the fourth line, write I washed. Tape the chart on the bathroom that the child will be using on the wall at the child's eye level. And the way to, to understand the eye level is you have to bend down, and kind of see the child, at eye level, where your child, will be able to reach that paper. Every time your child completes the 4 steps of successful bathroom time, they can put a sticker on each of the steps. You can make more charts as you need them. So make sure, you have enough paper, either to write, or to type. To make the chart more visual for your child, you can add a picture next to each step. For example, I went, you can put a picture of a child sitting on a toilet. I wiped, you can put a picture of a child wiping himself or herself. And you can also take a picture of your own child, if you don't want to pull this from the, those pictures from the internet. I flushed, you can use a picture of a child flushed in the toilet. And I washed, you can use a picture of a child washing hands. And this is very important because you do want to teach your child, to wash hands, after going to the bathroom, wiping and flushing, washing hands. You might want to have some flushable wipes when you first begin toilet training. Otherwise, you might find most of the toilet paper inside the toilet. So this way you can teach your child to use only one wipe at a time, and ensure your child is supervised at all times, especially at the beginning of the stages. Then, after the wipe, using the wipes, you can actually talk to your child about, this is how much paper, you can have, when going to the bathroom, and you have to wipe yourself. Do not forget about rewards. And this is very, very important. Rewards and charts go hand in hand when it comes to potty training. First I will mention is the sticker chart. And there is nothing more exciting to a young child than choosing a sticker and placing it in a particular spot. And seeing those stickers accumulate over time is a great visual reminder of what a great job they are doing. Another thing you can do is create a potty prize box. You can get some items from the dollar store. It doesn't have to be expensive. Every time your child successfully uses the potty, he or she will choose a prize from the box. Offer larger gifts as an incentive, and when I'm saying larger gifts, I mean maybe pick up their favorite food. The child can pick up their favorite food, or yogurt, going to the beach, if the child is successfully use the potty for the entire week, something that he or she really likes, you can just, that you know your child very well. So you know what he or she likes and what motivates your child. Get creative. Be creative in your rewards to find out what motivates your child the most. If your child loves to have friends over, maybe they get to host a play date on a Saturday. if they stay dry all day on Friday, or maybe they get to pick what the family eats for dinner, if they only have one accident during the day. You know your child better than anyone else, as I mentioned earlier, and you know what will motivate them to use the potty. Start small and slowly increase your rewards if necessary to motivate your child. This will save you from making trips to the store all the time. Then stretch it out. What I mean by that is, once you are a few days in, you can stretch out the potty breaks. Maybe go from 30 minutes to an hour, and then from an hour to 2 hours, until eventually you will not need a timer at all. No, really, it will happen, trust me. Plan mini trips. No, we are not talking about mini getaways. We are talking about quick trips to the grocery store or to grandma's house. Once you and your child are feeling good about your schedule, incorporate a few mini trips into your day. At first, you will be more nervous than your child about leaving the house, but keep the trips short and close to the house. Go back to the schedule. If you start to notice more accidents as you get further along in potty training, go back to your schedule for a day. The chances are the accidents are caused by a lack of schedule. If that does not work, it is possible that your child is experiencing a potty training regression. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the potty training regression. Potty training regression is more common than you think. It can also be a frustrating part of parenting, whether you are a seasoned mom with successful potty training methods, or you just finished potty training your first child. Regression is always a possibility. I will give you some tips and ideas to help your child back on track with potty training. So the first thing is be patient and encouraging. That's very important. Your child just went through a major transition in life, learning to use the potty. Before you get to the root of the problem, it is important to be gentle and to not let any disappointment show. When your child has an accident, stay positive and use it as an opportunity to gently remind him or her about the toilet. It is also very important to go easy on yourself. As parents, we often take on ideas about what other kiddos or our kiddos should do or should not do, and see their progress as reflections of our own parenting. You are not alone in feeling discouraged and frustrated by your child's regression. And you are not alone in this. The second one is determine whether or not it is true regression. A newly potty trained toddler can have several accidents throughout the week and not be regressing. Another thing to consider, if there are multiple accidents, is that your child is not totally potty trained. Maybe you thought you were done with this particular lesson, but your child might still be in need of teaching. So no matter how successful your method, your child is still learning and will have an occasional accident. Actually, regression is demonstrated by recurring weeks of consistent accidents after going for several weeks without any accidents. So the third one is find out why your child is regressing. If your child is truly potty trained, there will be a reason why he or she is reverting back to old behaviors. The first thing to determine is whether or not the regression is a symptom of a larger medical problem. So be sure to start by talking with your pediatrician. After ruling out only possible medical causes, it's time to look at emotional and psychological triggers for regression. For example, a sudden change in daily routine, new school, new teachers, or a new babysitter, a pregnant mom, or a new baby coming home, a lack of attention, separation or divorce, experiencing constipation or diarrhea. And then validate your child. Once you have figured out the cause of the regression, validate your child's feelings by acknowledging and talking about them. Emphasize with them about their confusion, disappointment, and how they feel, what they fear. Remember that this is a new season for them, and they count on you to get them through it. Your child needs to know that even if they cannot quite express their frustration, you understand and listen to them. The next one is involve them to help make a new plan. So it is a good idea to reignite your interest or interest as well, because that's very important, by involving them in the new potty training plan. Find out what they would like for a reward, whether it's a sticker chart, extra stories at bedtime, or a special treat. Regression is disappointing. I agree, but it is not a failure. Once you can pinpoint why regression is happening, you have half the problem solved. What I would like to address next and bring up is potty training boys. And you hear so much about potty training boys, and it's so difficult to potty train boys. But I will tell you that potty training boys can be challenging, but it is not impossible. Developmental research suggests that boys' brains develop differently than girls, and learning often takes on different forms for boys than for girls. In essence, boys need to try and do the same activity over and over in order to learn. Added to that, they do not always like to do the same activity over and over again. So they might be really into potty training for a few minutes, and then they might be really into the toy cars, the other. And then they might be really into playing outside. So you might see them like kind all over the place. Do you want to hear another interesting factor? Boys have to learn a two-step process. Boys and girls both learn to sit on the potty, but boys have to learn the additional skill of knowing when to stand and when to sit, and what to do when they need to do both. I'm not saying that all boys are going to be difficult to potty train, but feedback from parents and experts suggests that potty training boys might be a little bit more challenging than girls. So here are some tips for potty training boys. The first one is don't rush it. You will hear it again and again. Big sister was potty trained when she was 18 months old, but little brother was not ready until he was 3 or 4. Your friend's daughter potty trained herself at the age of 2, but your 4-year-old son still has no interest in underwear. So it is okay. Sometimes boys like to do things on their own timeline. A potty training is often one of those times. To save yourself and your son a lot of frustration, make sure he's really, really ready before you get started. So the next one is tag team with the body. If you know another mom who needs to potty train her son, partner up for a few days and make the potty training fun for everyone. Toddler boys can be especially influenced by peers. Having someone else learn the new skill alongside him can be both encouraging and fun. And then start with sitting and move to standing. Remember that boys have more to learn when it comes to potty training than girls do. They have to learn when to stand and when to sit and what to do, even when they need to do both. Most experts, though, suggest that to start by having your son sit down for everything. That's the first step. So first they need to grasp what happens without a diaper on, then they can move to standing versus sitting. And often very quickly, that will happen very quickly. The next step, play copycat. There is only so much you can do as a mom or a dad in teaching your son how to use the toilet. A good way to ensure the success is by letting him actually copy daddy or an older brother. This is a great way for him to ease into the idea of standing. Once he has, just grasped the sitting. For my single moms, out there, you can look at the pictures in a potty training book. The local library has children's books, many children's books actually, on potty training. So we have the next step, which is practice with toilet targets. This is a good one. Some parents don't know that. Once your son has a handle on peeing in the toilet, you can move on to what is sure to be one of the favorite parts about potty training, which is target practice. If you are feeling crafty, make some colored ice cubes to help him perfect that aim. Toss 2 to 3 in the toilet, and those are floatable and flushable, and teach your son to spray the toilet targets as he stands, to pee. The better his aim, the less mess for you in the future. When you make the colored ice cubes, involve him in the process. Let him put the water in the trays and add the colors he likes. Use food coloring, and you really can get, cheap food coloring. You can get it at the dollar store. You can get it at Publix. You can get it at Walmart. It's very inexpensive. The next step is don't rush it. Yes, this is a repeat. I know I repeated that. I said that earlier and I repeated it again. But it is very important if your son is not showing the signs of readiness. It is okay to take a break from the potty training if things are not going well and you are feeling frustrated. Give yourself and your little guy a break. You can always try again in a few months. So I want actually to bring up some very important final tips. Make sure you have plenty of underwear. And there is a lot of parents have a lot of questions. Should I use underwear? Should I use pull-ups? And many experts, they said to use, or they recommend to use underwear. A lot of the parents, that they have come forward and shared, a lot of their experience with potty training. They have shared that using underwear, it will be a quicker process. You will have a little bit more of a mess in your hands, at the very beginning, but if you have the timer and you follow those steps that I just mentioned, you will not experience, the many issues. The pull-ups, to most of the children, they feel like diapers, I would say that. So it is up to you if you want to use the pull-up or if you want to use the underwear. Either way, it's easier for you. With the pull-up, it might take a little bit longer because they have the feeling of, the diaper. So the second one I would like to mention is, some parents have questions like, what happens when someone else babysits for my child or my child goes to childcare? So make sure that the routine that you have at home, it follows your child, to the babysitter's house, or maybe to grandma's or grandpa's house, or maybe to the childcare center. This is a partnership. So partnership, consistency, communication, those are very important things, so parents, and of course, caregivers or, a babysitter can work together to make this process very successful. Some parents are asking also about nap time. How do I potty train my child, but my child has to take a nap or my child goes to bed at night? Just make sure that, your child uses the bathroom. You take your child to the bathroom, prior to going to bed. Make sure that your child does not drink a lot of liquids, a lot of water, a lot of juice before going to bed, because of course, at the beginning stages, they will wet the bed. You might want to use a pull-up, during, nap time or a nighttime. I know at our childcare childcare sites, the teachers, are taking the children to the bathroom before they take a nap, and then, they don't have any accidents. And I used to do the same thing for my own children and my grandchildren. Take them to the bathroom, prior to taking a little nap or a night. Don't give them liquids before they go to bed. And again, if you want to use a pull-up, you can use a pull-up. And this is all that I have for you. Do you have any questions?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Is there a, you outlined all these steps. Is there a small little card or a handout or anything like that, a resource, that you have created for Children First, or that you could recommend if, on a already existing website that we could have access to? I mean, I was taking notes, but I just wasn't sure if there's already something that's created, sort of an easy guide for families to look at in the community.
I have not created anything like that for our childcare centers. We do have, a potty training form, and this is a form we use when the child is ready for potty training. The parent has to read and understand that this is, as I mentioned earlier, this is a partnership. There must be communication, consistency, because us as parents, and I have been there because, I'm a parent as well, I had the expectations from the teachers, my child comes here, spends time here all day. So, I expect you to potty train my child, but this is a partnership really. It's going to help our parents. I can create something like that, and I can drop it off either with you, Patricia, or I can email it to you. You can make copies. Something maybe they can put like in a ring, kind of thing. Chelsea, I know you would like to have something like that.
Yes, I'm just thinking I loved it because you had specifics, but I feel like, sometimes you read things, there's a million different things out there, right? And then sometimes you read things that are so specific that it's overwhelming. And I feel like you gave us just some easy rules to remember. And I just think it would be so beneficial for people in our community if there was a one-pager or a half sheet or just something that could be provided in the community, your knowledge and experience, personal experience, professional experience. I think it would be a well-used resource and tool in our community. And I see some people nodding, so I think they agree.
I can do that. I can send it to Patricia, and I can also send sample charts. I can do that. I have several charts, that I can send out, and you can choose, like parents can choose with a child, how to do it. Even, coloring in without even stickers, you can start like with dots. They can start coloring in, within, those dots. And then, you can use a sticker chart. You can put it up a notch. I can do that.
Can I say something? Beverly with Healthy Start. It's called Noodle Soup, Chelsea, and it's a one little small page on potty training. It's real simple. Also, it's real not that many words. It's for the parent to like follow, and you get it from. It's called Noodle Soup. There's like a magazine, a catalog you can order from, or you can even go online and order it also too.
Dr. Melania, if you'll do that and send it to me,
Yes.
then I can make sure that everybody that attended, will have access to that. And then also make it available, upon request. So that would be great. And then that noodle soup, Bev, that was great. We do get that catalog in the office as well.
Great. Yes, I will do that. I will send you all those resources. And those resources that I have are resources that parents have used, you know, and they were very successful. So I'm sure that the parents will love them.
Dr. Melania, thank you so very much.
Welcome.
Good reminders, especially about the boys. My goodness, that two-step. And maintaining the partnership and that communication with the caregivers and the families. Very good information. So thank you so very much. And I look forward to the information from Patricia as well. Thank you.
You're welcome, Michelle. Michelle is joining us from out of country.
Oh, fantastic.
Actually, she's joining us from Jamaica.
I love it. Welcome, Michelle. Thank you for joining. I was going to say thank you for coming, but we're no, we're playing in volunteer. This is the wonder of virtual. You know, it breaks down every border that has ever existed. It's fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we train differently because of culture, but, you know, really good reminders, really good reminders that we can use with our own parents. We have approximately 2,600 schools that serve 0 to 5 across the island. And from that, we have about 120,000 in the 0 to 3 category, private and public serving. So this is really good information. So whatever we use, we have to make sure it's culturally appropriate, because we do train a little bit earlier here because we want them out of diapers because of the cost. But very good information. I really appreciate it. And you're right, we get to meet so many different people from around the world. So I appreciate the invitation. I do. Thank you.
You know, Michelle, you make a really good point. I mean, being from South America myself, what you just said is so true. Culturally, because of the cost of diapers and wipes, people in other foreign countries are forced to tackle this endeavor of potty training a lot earlier.
Yes.
I mean, there's name any brand you want, you know, you can get by bulk, and there's a lot of different opportunities in the United States to not spend as much money. But for those who have had children abroad, it becomes quite an expense. So that's a great point. And I'm sure Dr. Melania, you know, being from Greece, has also experienced that part of it too.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And of course, you know, potty training back in those days, you know, it was completely different. You know, the parents are used to these days. You know, our parents, you know, used to, you know, to do different things, you know, with potty training that, you know, these days, you know, we just cannot, you know, implement, especially, you know, for all of us that, you know, we have a lot of knowledge, you know, in education and, you know, early childhood or education in general. We just don't do some of those things. But, you know, it's just different cultures, you know, approach potty training in different ways.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of wondering if culturally you've ever experienced that, you know, parents or in certain cultures, they would want the boys to be potty trained by a male versus, you know, a female potty training. I mean, it could be a culturally sensitive educational process.
You know, at our sites, we don't have the issue because we do have males and females actually. And the parents feel comfortable with, you know, either, you know. You know, females, that, you know, they help with potty training because in the classroom we have teachers, male teachers. And the parents feel comfortable, you know. I believe, you know, it's just the approach, you know, with the parent, you know, and the parent, you know, feels comfortable and trust the child with you, you know.
Right.
It's just the approach. We never had any issue with any of our male teachers. It's just the same process, same communication, here are the underwear, here is a pull-up, for nap time. And it's like, the only thing is parents like to, to say, okay, can you put a pull-up, so the teacher, has to kind of sit with the parent and provide like a deeper education, those are the steps that we are taking. We don't put a pull-up, we just, take the child, to the bathroom, before they lay down. We make sure that they don't drink a lot of liquids. So the parent feels comfortable because that communication is there. But, like the culture that I grew up, basically, of course, I grew up not in the United States. So the culture was, only females, will potty train, the girls. Oh no, there's no way the males will get involved. They knew, the males knew they wouldn't even go close to potty train because that was the culture. So, it's just a different approach,
Yep, that's why I brought that up, because I know that where I'm from, it was exactly like that.
Yes, there are a lot of times, when I go back home, and I have, my nieces and my nephews, and I know, I see them and I smile because I'm used to a different culture now. Of course, I've been here in the United States for a lot of years and I was educated here. So, I try to talk to them, and of course, they do not, listen. No, this is not for males. This is a female job type of thing. So it has to do with culture, and you have to respect it, like we respect it. We respect the cultures because this is what, and here in America, this is what it makes our country great. Different cultures from all over the world, they're respecting the parents' wishes and the parents' cultures. And educate them, it's all about educating the parents, like coming from another culture, it takes time, to learn. It takes time to trust. So you have to, make sure that, you talk to the parent and, the communication, the partnership, and mom, dad, you cannot do that alone. It takes a village to raise a child.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else have any more questions? Comments?
I have just a quick, comment. I'm thinking to myself too, when you already have so many other stressors in your life, I think about families that have so many barriers, and then adding on this other stressful thing, especially when you're worried about, meeting their basic needs and making sure that they have the support they need. And maybe they don't have a support system that can help them. So I think the more we can do to provide some sort of flexible framework for people in our community to help them in this endeavor, just some easy to access information to make it I'm sure no matter what, it's just a challenging thing, but to make it as easy as we can as people are trying to go through this process. So I can't thank you enough. I feel like I have a better grasp on it. And I've read up on some things, but I feel like this was really helpful for me. So thank you again.
Thank you so much.
And you can't wait to get started, Chelsea.
I think I have to wait a little bit longer. She's not showing any of the 6 signs, so
Okay.
I have a little bit to go.
You just turned 1. You got plenty of time
Yeah,
to
I've
wait.
got plenty of time.
Now, I was also thinking, having a support system can be wonderful, but having a support system that tells you that that's not the way you should do it, and that my mother and your grandmother and whatever did it this way, and contradicting everything can be really tough on some people. Back to cultural issues. We see this whether it's breastfeeding or any other aspect of raising children, that there's a lot, sleeping in their own bed, sleeping on their back, everything that has changed over generations can raise challenges for for new moms, especially ones that are not particularly independent in their own self-worth, sticking up for what they should do and want to do. It can be really a challenge. So this was very, very helpful. And I think we'll get a lot of this information coordinated, and it'll be wonderful. We'll have some excellent tools. Thank you, Dr. Melania. This was really very, very interesting.
You're welcome. My pleasure. My pleasure.
And Michelle, I hope you'll join us for some of our other sessions that we have coming up that Patricia's going to tell everybody about in a minute.
Yeah, please, if I can get some of that information. I did see it when I was going through, but I would love it. Thank you.
Absolutely. So there's the slide for everybody to view. Sarah's pulling that up on the screen right now. By the way, Michelle, we've had others that have preceded this. You can go on our www.healthystartsarasota.org website and access all of the recordings for the previous ones. And of course, Dr. Melania's, you know, it takes a few days to get it up on the website and then on our YouTube channel. But what we have coming up is Sound Beginnings on early language development practices. This is going to be a two-part series, an hour and a half each. It is very content heavy. So that's why, you know, we have broken it down into the two sections, and it'll be May 18th is the first one from 2 to 3:30, and then May 25th from 2 to 3:30. We also have one of our board members and a colleague of hers will be presenting on childhood stress, and they're from the Florida Center. That will be on Monday, June 14th at noon. So we will keep everybody posted as we add new topics. I also would like to let everybody know, of course, these parenting series are free. We are able to do that because presenters like Dr. Melania and other people who want to do this to help, and because they're partners and we're in a collaboration, but we are extremely, extremely lucky to have that, because just going back at all of the topics that we've already presented, I know that if we had to pay speakers for those, we would have had a lot of extra funding that we do not have. So with that said, you know, if anybody would feel particularly inclined to making a donation, you know, anything, if you would like to, the information about Healthy Start is on the screen right now. Obviously, it is by no means a requirement. It's just something that, you know, we always let people know when we say, you know, this is free. So if you'd like to donate something, that would be certainly welcome. But it's been wonderful. Dr. Melania is knowledgeable in so many other areas. I'm pretty sure later on, you know, you will be seeing more of Dr. Melania if we're able to schedule further presentations as we keep adding. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today and making this enlightenment possible. And please, you know, share everything you learned, you know, share our website, share our YouTube channel. Let's get the people coming and benefiting from this. This is free. I mean, there's, like they say, there's no free lunch in the US. Well, this is free. So
yeah, I'm sending it to family and friends and telling them their children, you know, pass it on to their children.
Yes.
I don't see any of them join, but I'm hoping for, you know, we're going to get there eventually where we really have a national audience for these. No reason not to.
well, you know what? We broke a record today. We got Michelle from Jamaica.
That's true.
Yay, Michelle.
You get the prize for traveling the longest distance virtually.
Exactly. So Michelle, you go ahead and tell all of your fellow Jamaicans and your other neighboring islanders about us so we can get on the map.
I will do that. I will do that. I'm going to just plug that we're having a conference here next week. So if Dr. Melania, I'll send the information to her and you guys can join us next week. We have a full week of sessions. Our tracks include early learning and care, STREAM, leadership. We're looking at parenting, and we have Howard University actually joining us next week. So we have a partnership with Howard University, and they're going to be
University from
presenting.
DC?
Yeah.
Oh man,
yeah.
good for you.
So I'll send the flyer to Dr. Melania, and maybe she can share, and it's free. So if you guys want to join any of the sessions, you can. Yeah. We have quite a few partnerships with various universities. Thank you too. Thank you.
Michelle, what kind of work do you do? You're